Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Business Insider. Tonight, we'll be talking about the new industrial cities and the importance of those cities in achieving sustainable development and attaining higher rates of growth and pushing the Egyptian economy forward. We'll be talking about those industrial cities from the standpoint of the jobs they create and the fact that they could also encourage local production and what they give to local and foreign investors, and much more with a very distinguished guest here tonight on Business Insider. So the industrial cities and the role in sustainable development in Egypt will be the main topic. But as always, we will have a look at our top stories and major news for this past week first. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi directed the government on Tuesday to strictly commit to tighten control over the agriculture exports to produce crops with distinguished quality. Sisi's instructions came during his meeting with Prime Minister Dr Mostafa Wali, Agriculture Minister Said Al-Qusayr, Director General of the National Service Projects Authority of the Armed Forces Walid Abul Magd, and Director of the Egypt Future for Agricultural Projects Baha El-Ghanem. Presidential spokesman Bassam Radi said that the president ordered exclusively depending on entities affiliated with the coding system of the Egyptian agricultural quarantine and applying the importing country's standards. During the meeting, Al-Qusayr briefed the president on the development process of the Egyptian agricultural export system, especially governing the export procedures and the new coding system. The minister pointed out that Egypt exported 6.43 million tons of crops in 2022 to about 160 countries worth $3.3 billion US dollars. The meeting also touched on the situation of the livestock development by reviewing the national program for distributing thousands of highly productive cattle to farmers and small breeders in coordination with related ministries and the National Service Projects Authority of the Armed Forces. And Minister of Manpower Hassan Shahata revealed on Tuesday the ministry's vision and plan to integrate the informal economy into the mainstream or formal economy in line with relevant state policies and directives by His Excellency the President. A draft labor law submitted by the government stimulates investment, achieves job security and balance between employers and employees, and encourages the youth to work in the private sector, Shahata said during a plenary session of the Senate. The minister's speech touched on a study presented by Senator Ahmed Abu Hashima on the youth and the informal labor markets. The Manpower Ministry commends this study and welcomes all its recommendations, Shahata said, calling for concerted efforts by the state to put the study results into practice. The minister added that the draft labor law, has been approved by the Senate and referred to the House of Representatives. And the Cabinet's Information and Decision Support Center, the IDSC, said on Tuesday that Egypt is one of the richest Arab countries in terms of possessing black sand, as it possesses geological reserve estimated at 1.3 billion cubic meters. In a report, it said Egypt possesses 11 sites of black sand and heavy metals on 400 kilometers extending from Rashid on the Mediterranean to Rafah. President Sisi inaugurated last October a black sand plant in Borulus city in Kafr al-Sheikh Governorate. The black sand plant in Kafr al-Sheikh is the first of its kind worldwide with the most advanced mining equipment. The plant is part of mega national projects which aim to optimize the use of Egypt's natural resources and attain added value of minerals extracted from black sand. The extracted minerals are used in the micro industries, a matter which paved the way to support the national economy and attain overall development. The report explained that minerals are separated and extracted from black sands at the sites. The extracted minerals then are used in strategic products and important industries such as the manufacture of aircraft and automobile structures, petroleum pipelines, nuclear radiation materials and others, which makes it a national treasure for the country to be reckoned with. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Morocco and Oman are the richest countries with black sand reserves in the Arab region. Time now for a short break, and when we come back, we will watch together a report on tonight's main topic, the role of the new industrial cities in achieving sustainable development, and introduce you to our distinguished guests. So please stay with us, dear viewers. Welcome back, dear viewers. With us now here in the studio is engineer Dr Mostafa Wali, and he is the former general manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries, and he is also a member of the Energy Committee at the Cairo Syndicate of Engineers. A very good evening to you, Dr. Wali. Happy to have you with us.
Thank you very much, and same to you.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Wali, the new industrial cities and their role in boosting the Egyptian economy and achieving sustainable development. How do you see their role?
Well, the industrial cities now, it's in our modern history in Egypt, for the industry especially, proved to be a drive, and very strong drive, for development, industrial development especially, with all the results which always come with this over the years. And let's remember now, while we are talking about new areas, and let's remember how was 6th of October, 10th of Ramadan, and Burj Al Arab, and all this. Now we are in the vicinity of half a century now, getting to be half a century of establishment, with a record of a very good record, actually. At the end, it's positive record. And we now in Egypt, not only now, I mean, at least for the last 15, 20 years, and especially in the last 10, 15 years, are focusing on how to match and get these industrial cities and industrial development at large. And when you say industrial cities, then you are assume, and it should be there, that industrial development to the latest in the industry, specific industry, if it's a specific industry in the world, because it will be meaningless unless you have something to compete. I mean, something which can stand the competition, which now is all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's good news, really good news to me, and I'm following it for quite some time, the development of some industrial areas in all Egyptian governors, by the way. But just lately, there were the fourth, they called it in the department or the agency which is taking care of this governmental agency, which is IDA, which is an abbreviation for Industrial Development Authority. They already announced it just a few weeks ago, just lately. This fourth generation of industrial areas and industrial sites, with the understanding that this is some areas Big areas inside certain area, in certain places, in certain regions, in certain governorates.
Like the 6th of October or
We have now,
Ain
the
al-Sukhna.
biggest of them now. Actually, I'm talking now about the latest,
Yes.
actually, which is now opened and offered to both those private developers, you know, industrial developers,
Yes.
and also those which are built and equipped and prepared by the governmental bodies, you know. In this case, we, according to this announcement, we will have very big industrial city the 6th of October, which means that 6th of October now is getting another big area to be extended to form an extension to show the development. And I'm sure that this industrial area with industries will be there, when you, no matter what will be the type of industry, which will fit according to the requirements and you know, all the requirements which we are taking care of. I mean, environmental and, you know, availability for transport and availability of energy and all this. It will be to the best of the world what's going on in the world. This is not bragging. This is true right now, you know, because even digitization, which is a very important term,
element, yes,
and you know, and representing the latest in the information technology, in IT technology, which actually gives a very big boost for industry, because industry is you know, is the womb and you know, the environment where actually you can get the benefit of such digitization system. You know.
And I think there is a trend of taking care of Upper Egypt. I mean, we understand we're seeing many new industrial complexes and cities being established in Upper Egypt right now. What's your comment on that development?
It was a pleasure, actually, for those who knows, and for us as Egyptians at large, to know that our brothers, our citizens, our friends, our families in Upper Egypt, to the far south in Egypt,
who had been neglected for some time.
Yeah, of course, it was like that.
At a certain stage.
It's a fact, but now we are taking care of it to such a limit. So we see such big projects there. Look at Sohag, this was lately, you know, and before I witnessed, of course, some little bit before, some time before, what was done in Menia, for example, and even Beni Suef, you name it, because if you go South Egypt, and I have to tell you something, you know, which will make this ideas, which is now on the ground, is a fact, and with more to come, that when we will have this high-speed railways, which we were talking about it last our meeting, you know. You can imagine how it will affect and how it will help in developing in these areas more and more.
Right.
Plus also the president kindly, and I mean, it was great that he was giving, not orders, I mean, he was recommending that we better get some other areas to increase the possibility of development in industrial sectors, but of course, we should be very careful not to touch the lands for agriculture, you know.
Now, there are industrial cities and there are industrial zones or economic free zones. Could you tell us about the difference?
Yeah, the difference, it comes actually, who is doing what? For example, if you talk about the most famous place, the most famous area is the SE zones. You know? In this SE zone, you will have what you call private developer, private industrial developer. So private industrial developers, they will take a piece of land, you know, of course, in good location from the general outlook.
Yes.
And then they will take care and they will take the burden and undertake to prepare and equip all the necessary industry aggregates as infrastructure, roads, electricity, and water supply, water sewage, roads, inside roads, of course, so that it will be, and then divide according to areas. Some investor might ask for 2,000 square meter. Some will ask about 5,000. Some ask for more, and then according to this, they will have the chance to get, and they will help also in bringing investment and in bringing investors to the areas there. That's of course success story in itself. The governmental, we know, of course, there were built some areas in an existing area. For example, in 10th of Ramadan, there was development, for industrial zones where you will have a turnkey factory. Only you get your machines, you get everything, because you have, even the building is there. So this was done by governmental bodies.
Now, there are also something called residential projects and non-residential projects. Could you tell us about the difference?
It's if you can have the chance, because sometimes it's not in your hand, the chance to have a vast area where you can have a complete, viable or vibrant community, which means that you will have the plant, the industry, and then you have everything needed for it. And then, of course, you should have the labor, you should have the workforce, and then they should have some place to live. So if you can integrate this, then this is, again, it's a new city. That's it.
Right. So how do you see the new industrial cities, or the the free economic zones, as a driver for development?
Of course. Well, as we agreed before, and as it's known, it's a fact now, that in order to increase our GDP, well, let's talk our gross domestic product, then it's industry. Industry, again, in other sense, industry is the locomotive for the development.
Yes.
And within industry, even you can get to better education, to better understanding, to better knowledge, to better experience, to more advanced experience. So we have to concentrate on this, and the priority should go to industry. Even, I always say it, even when it comes to agriculture.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
Yes.
So there is no contradiction here.
No.
Because within agriculture,
it is.
There is agriculture itself is an industry. The industry of agriculture.
And the industry, some product, which is industrial product, which is coming from the industry, is now essential for the productivity of the agricultural land.
Right. So when we say it is good for the economy, one element of it is the creation of jobs, right?
Yes, of course.
Industry creates a lot of jobs.
Absolutely.
And also, you mentioned something about digitalization.
Yes.
The digitalization of the industry. And we keep hearing this word a lot. So we want to know more about what is exactly meant by the digitalization of the industry, and how can those new cities or new industrial cities play a role in that, or how can digitalization be a part of the new thing?
I got it. Yeah. I dare say, I hope I will not be wrong, that it means that to do what you can to do through electronics, through online, what can be done physically. Simple as that. From giving order to machine to do something, or from relaying anything related to what you want to do without being there. You see how much this will save time and effort and cost also. That's actually the digitization.
Okay.
Of course, to put it in the sense of, in the scope of industry.
Yeah.
But look at in our life now, how we communicate. This is kind of it, Look how you can transfer money, your own money, from place to place. Look how you can pay. That's it. That's it. Digitization, where we can get everything into digitization. But it will help much more if we get into industry, because this means a higher development of the status of the industry at large, from the machinery to the workforce.
Okay. And how can the new industrial cities attract foreign and local investors at the same time? Investment in general, be it local or foreign.
Yeah, let's start with the foreign, because we need foreign, we should work for it. Foreign direct investment that will actually lead to have China as China, and you name all the what we call that time the Asian tigers. It was foreign direct investment. I witnessed this. A lot of my generation have witnessed this. That's a rule and will always there. But the only thing is that how much can you afford to have a viable project for you? I mean, you agree on it. Of course, it will help you if it is there, and also for the investor. This is a long story, but to put it in the right way, yes, we have the basics which can attract. How to make the basics much more attractive without getting into details. Now I feel I am following that if we come to the most common that, okay, the problems of, and the hassles of establishing establishing a business or something for a foreigner who wants to invest in Egypt, they are reducing it to the minimum now. So it's taken care of.
The bureaucracy has been taken care of.
Of course, yes. Always everybody would say bureaucracy, but let's be careful also, because sometimes there are certain rules. For example, you cannot now, any place in the world, whether even developed or underdeveloped or developing country, you can't easily have anything which will be against the environment. So if we stick to the environment rules, this is not bureaucracy.
Right, right.
But okay, how to be sure, how to make yourself sure and help that the investor, whether he's a local or then, know what you want. So you put it clearly and you put even the easiest way to fulfill this demand. Simple as that.
Okay, and now that we have those new industrial cities and we are expanding there, definitely, and you're a member of the Energy Committee at the Cairo Syndicate of Engineers, definitely any industry will rely on energy. So how do you see the integration and the policies that should be laid out in order to help the industries use as much clean energy as they can, and at the same time, perhaps some incentives could be given to the price of energy? I don't know. I mean, you tell us.
Yeah. Very nice and intelligent remark. You introduced clean energy in the industry. Let's hope we will carry on what we are witnessing now of success stories in Egypt, because soon we will have excess of renewable energy, green energy to export. And when we get into hydrogen again, this will be great. That's great scope, and it's in process now. And even we are taking it seriously in some certain areas, from the scientific side of view, from the economy, and it actually gives a hope that we can be a pioneer in the area for this. The more you will have green energy in your product, the more you will have a higher price market to sell these products for. That's a fact in the world now. And it will be like this for quite some time. So we can, even if we invest in our cleaner energy or green energy, we will be paid, because there will be some regulation which will take in consideration, what they call the carbon print. We should not get into details, but how green energy was utilized in having this part. Imagine it will go to the part of a complete product. It's true. It's there.
Yeah.
It's in some rules now. It's there in some states, in some countries.
Okay. How can the new industrial cities encourage local manufacturing? And local manufacturing, and depending on the local product, is a policy of the government.
Yeah, you mean the local material?
Local material,
Yeah.
the components, and the production,
exactly,
of
exactly. Yes,
yeah.
yes. You know, I hope
Local
if,
production,
of
yeah,
course. But of course,
manufacturing.
the material, if it is local, that's something in itself,
Yeah,
because it
of
will
course.
save you the hassle or the
Yeah.
cost of import.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
yeah. How can the new industrial cities help
Yes,
in that regard?
it was a very good note that in this offering for this fourth version of new industrial cities and industrial zones, there were some studies and detailed studies that these areas has the following merits when it comes to geography, local, I mean, compared to concerning the country, location in country, and the transport, and the material availability available there. So any of these materials which is needed for certain product will be there around, you know, and that's something. That's something. That's to answer you. I mean, how it can help. Local material will be there, so everybody knows, whether it's a local investor from the area or from outside the area, he knows that he has access to this material. Quarries, for example, different quarries, you know, and so on.
So you believe it will help?
It helps
in that regard.
It helps. It helps. It's, by the way, if you have a project where everything should be imported, and at the end it will be profitable when it comes to the investor, and for you to have investment in the first place, welcome, because he will be exporting. But I'm talking about local investor, because I want to make sure how much he can save by affording his local his material, his raw material, required raw materials for his product.
Okay, of the map of the new industrial cities map, which industries, which sectors, Dr. Wali, are we focusing more upon, and which sectors do we need to expand in?
Frankly speaking, I went through it. More or less, you find, you know, the full-fledged, you know, spectrum of industry. You can find it there.
Okay.
You know.
What do you think would be the most profitable, though?
Well, the most profitable in general so far, and it will be, is in those which have the added value.
Yeah.
When you have the added value. For example, if you look at something, well-known story now, you have the most sophisticated job you can have from a part which is made from silicon, which is sand. But what is behind this is a lot of investment and technology and brains and. Then you see, sometimes you can't tell exactly which is which. If we can manage to be of the knowledge needed to have the industry and technology for such, then we can make this will be a priority for such a place. And you see, some investment came from big names in the world to go through this, to manufacture this here in Egypt, without giving names, you know, but you know, we should be proud that they are allowed. They are international leaders in manufacturing, in electronic and electric and electronic appliances.
And also, speaking of the map of the new industrial cities, there is a connection between the location and the type of industries or that these areas are known for. For instance, in Damietta, there is the furniture complex and so on. Could you in Suez,
sure.
petrol-linked or oil-linked industries.
There is always a comparative edge when you come to generally to comparison, you know. Then there will be an edge which you have to where you can have. Then, for example, if you say, you know, Egypt at large, the geographical location, our geography, our location on the map of the world is a comparative edge.
Of course.
And then you can go break down all everything in this sense, you know. You see who is competing with you in this, and where is your ranking in this competition. So this is a general question, but this is the understanding. But it needs thorough studies, thorough understanding of the subject itself.
And finally, Dr. Wali, if you sum it up for us, the new industrial cities, how can they be an engine, a driver for development, a driver for sustainable development?
Yeah. First of all, it will bring life to areas where there is no life. I mean, all of a sudden you will have a factory, then you will have a people, you have life, vibrant life, That in itself is an achievement, because to us, we know that there will be employment, there are people, there are future for development. You are fighting your problems, the problem of unemployment. You are fighting it really on the ground. Everybody will see it. It will help. So, especially if it's a successful project or successful business. Simple as that. We can put it in this nutshell. That if it's enough to me, actually, right now, to have it, and meanwhile, the main target will be reducing unemployment.
Right. So the creation of jobs is the most important part of this.
Because this is the first step, and then development comes. We have the whole stories of the world. We shall be through this for the last half century in Asia.
And you are, of course, as a man of industry, you like the fact that we are focusing on industry now.
Yes,
and you believe in the necessity of that.
It's a must. It's a matter of it's a must, yes. It's a must. And I'm very happy, actually, to, one start to be very sensitive when talking this, but this is true, that the leadership of this country is taking care of it to the maximum, and in a very difficult situation. Not only for today or yesterday, it is always, it was.
All right.
But soon it will be over,
Inshallah.
with our will and
Inshallah.
and effectiveness.
Thank you very much, Engineer Dr. Mostafa Wali,
Thank you very much.
the former General Manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries and the member of the Energy Committee at the Cairo Syndicate of Engineers. Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and for your platform to let the world know that Egypt is in the move.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
And thank you, dear viewers, for watching this edition of Business Insider. Next week, same time, a new edition. Until then, have all the best and goodbye.